Tonight, following through on a pledge, the government bans the import and re-export of minor crops, including pepper.
There had been a significant level of re-export that had taken place in this country, adopted by the government of Gotabaya Rajapaksa. We are going to stop that.
Slap on the wrist. Sri Lanka's former defence attaché fined in absentia for gesturing at LTTE sympathisers. Double delight. Sri Lanka bags men's and women's relay gold, breaking an Indian record. All that and much more coming up on First at 9. This Friday, the 6th of December, 2019.
Base scene එකෙන් cut වෙන්න. Anti-germ mouthwash සමගින් එන close-up gel එක story එක start කරන්න.
Hi.
Hi.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to First at 9. I'm Dhamnika Kanaika. Let's start with your local stories. The government issued a Gazette notification banning the import and re-export of minor crops including pepper, cinnamon and areca nut. This decision was made by the Minister of Finance, Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, with the objective of safeguarding small and medium-scale farmers. Banning the re-exportation of spices and minor crops, especially pepper, was also among the pledges in the President's manifesto during his election campaign.
A Gazette notification was issued by the government yesterday prohibiting the re-export of key spices and minor crops with immediate effect. The Ministry of Finance, issuing a media release, said no approval will be granted under the Commercial Hub regulations in the Finance Act to engage in any import or re-export of spices and minor crops. Accordingly, re-export of pepper, areca nut, nutmeg, mace, tamarind, cinnamon, clove, ginger, turmeric and cardamom will be barred.
So this has been the subject of many discussions during last few years. There had been a significant level of re-export that had taken place in this country, undermining the quality and the value of the produce of the Sri Lankan farmers. So as one of the significant steps adopted by the government of Gotabaya Rajapaksa, we are going to stop that. The laws pertaining to prevention of such activities would be enacted soon. The Gazette notification pertaining to that has been issued. We ensure that the Sri Lankan farmers, those who produce such goods to this market and also for the export purposes, they would get the best price for their produce. And also we invite Sri Lankan people to cultivate more, and our government will ensure that we pay the maximum price for their produce in time to come.
Meanwhile, the Gazette notification issued by the Ministry of Finance also states that no project pertaining to the importation and recycling of garbage from other countries will be permitted. The Gazette also states that if any entity is found flouting the law, Director General of Customs or any official authorized by him in writing shall be empowered to enter into such places and take necessary action. Steps have also been taken to regulate the importation of items produced by domestic industries such as Vesak lanterns, kites and incense sticks.
Gel scene action. Anti-germ mouthwash සමගින් එන close-up gel එක story එක start කරන්න.
Now, as Sri Lanka looks forward to growth in light of a new vision, the Australian High Commissioner David Holly expressed that Australia would be willing to give the utmost assistance to Sri Lanka on its joint journey. Now, the Australian High Commissioner made these remarks when he met with President Gotabaya Rajapaksa this afternoon.
A meeting took place between Australian High Commissioner David Holly and President Gotabaya Rajapaksa earlier today at the Presidential Secretariat. The High Commissioner seized the encounter to congratulate the President on his election win on behalf of the Australian government, expressing his government's fullest support in Sri Lanka's journey. It was further discussed that the way forwards for both countries through strengthening bilateral relationships between Sri Lanka and Australia.
දරුවාගේ අස්ථි ප්‍රතිශක්තිකරණ පද්ධතිය සහ මානසික ක්‍රියා නිසි පරිදි පවත්වාගෙන යාමට දායක වන කැල්සියම්, විටමින් C සහ යකඩ අඩංගු මයිලෝ සමගින් පෝෂණයෙන් ඉදිරියට.
ඕනෑම ප්‍රමාණයක TV සභාසියට 50ක් දක්වා වටා. දිවයින පුරා Soft Logic සහ Soft Logic Max ප්‍රදර්ශනාගාරවලින්.
Now, Deputy Chief Prelate of the Askiriya chapter, Venerable Vendarwe Upalithera, insists that the people must look beyond mere privileges and positions in order to achieve another considerable undertaking within the coming months. The Thera gave his views as he delivered a sermon during an almsgiving in Polonnaruwa, adding that the President Gotabaya Rajapaksa's election win is reminiscent of a King Dutugamunu era.
Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa took part in an almsgiving organised to mark the 80th birthday of Chief Incumbent of the Isipathana Temple in Polonnaruwa and Prelate of the Northern, North Central and Eastern Province, Venerable Udugama Sri Dhammananda Thera this morning.
ඉතින් නායක හැමරෝ 100ක් අපි ජීවත් කරවන්නටත් ඕනේනේ. ඒ සඳහා තමයි අපි දැන් ජයපිරිත දේශනා කළේ. බලන්නකො ඒකේ තිබෙන අභිමානයේ සබ්බ බුද්ධානුභාවේන සබ්බ ධම්මානුභාවේන සබ්බ සංඝානුභාවේන. දැන් නම් බුද්ධ ධම්ම විතරයි. නමුත් ඉතින් බුදුහාමුදුරන්ගේ දේශනාව අනුව උන්වහන්සේ නිතරම මට නෙවෙයි සංඝයාට සලකන්න සංඝ රත්නයට සලකන්න. කාටද වෙනස් කරන්න පුළුවන් මේ බුද්ධ බලය බුද්ධ වචනේ. අපේ හාමුදුරුවන්ට වමනාව තිබුණා මේ දේශයට හරි නායකත්වයක් මේ නායකත්වයේ තෝරන වකවානුවේදී ඇත්ත වශයෙන්ම තෝරා ගැනීමට. ඒ නිසා අපේ වර්තමාන ජනාධිපති ගෝඨාභය රාජපක්ෂ මහතා දිනුම් රටත් දිනුම් අපි ඔක්කොම දිනුම් කියලා මේ වෙලාවේදී සිංහල බෞද්ධයන් වශයෙන් සතුටෙන් ප්‍රකාශ කරනවා. රටට නායකයෙක් තෝරා ගන්න තීරණයත් එක්කම වැස්සා කියන්නේ ඇත්ත වශයෙන්ම එතනින් එහාට අනිත් එක ඉබේම ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙනවා. මොකද්ද? කලට වැසි වැසිනවා, අස්වැන්න සරු වෙනවා, මිනිසු ප්‍රීතියෙන් ජීවත් වෙනවා, රජය දැහැමි වෙනවාමයි. සහෝදරයෝ දෙන්නේ රටේ පාලනයට පත් වෙලා තිබෙනවා. කෙනෙක් මේ විවේචනය කරන්නට පුළුවන්. බෞද්ධ අපට නම් දුටුගැමුණු යුගයක් සිහිපත් කරනවා. අපට තවත් යුග මෙහෙවරක් නුදුරු දිනයක කරන්නට තිබෙනවා. තව මාස 2-3කින් රටත් ජාතියත් ආගමත් බේරා ගන්නට නම් පොඩි ලාභ ප්‍රයෝජන ගැන හිතන්නට එපා, තනතුරු ගැන හිතන්නට එපා.
Subsequently, the Prime Minister called on the chief incumbent of the Madirigiri Buddhist Centre of the Polonnaruwa district, Venerable Madirigiri Assaji Thera.
Now, former defence attaché of the Sri Lankan High Commission in London, Brigadier Priyanka Fernando, has been found guilty today by a UK court over a gesture he made towards a group of protesting LTTE sympathisers. The protest was worked off on the day of Sri Lanka's independence by LTTE sympathisers in front of the Sri Lankan High Commission in London last year. Delivering the verdict today, Chief Magistrate Emma Arbuthnot said the gesture made by the Brigadier is a disreputable act for a senior military officer. She ordered the Brigadier to pay a fine of £2,000 and the verdict was delivered without the presence of Brigadier Fernando and an arrest warrant was not issued either. The magistrate deemed the Brigadier's diplomatic immunity is not a defence. Now, former Sri Lankan cricketer Muthaiya Muralidharan insists that Sri Lanka's neighbours in Tamil Nadu should allow Sri Lanka's governance to the country's government. In an interview, the highest test wicket taker of all time said that Tamil Nadu politicians do not understand the problems of the Sri Lankan people. He also put to bed rumours of him being offered the position of governor in the northern province.
Muthaiya Muralidharan, renowned for his deadly spin bowling prowess, was questioned by an Indian media outlet whether there is any truth to reports of the Sri Lankan president offering him the post of governor of the northern province. The answer was a simple no, followed by his lack of interest in politics. Highlighting his Indian roots, Muralidharan was asked as to why he supported President Gotabaya Rajapaksa during his election campaign when the country's Tamil majority voted against him. The legendary spinner responded saying that Sri Lanka is a multi-religious society and there is respect for all, adding that everyone have the same rights as any other citizens in the country. Muralidharan noted that both every Sri Lankan, including the Sinhalese majority, supports him when he represented Sri Lanka on the cricketing field and he will support anything needed of him for all communities in Sri Lanka. When asked how he would explain his allegiance to Rajapaksa to the people in Tamil Nadu, Given that politicians there are against President Rajapaksa and the Indian state is his second home through marriage, Muralidharan said, quote, "Tell me if there is a problem within your family, do your neighbours interfere? Tamil Nadu politicians do not understand the problems of Sri Lankans. They should allow our government to get on with governance. I support President Rajapaksa because he is the right person to lead our country," unquote.
Now, the United Nations resident coordinator in Sri Lanka, Hannah Singer, describes Sri Lanka a trailblazer in efforts towards achieving sustainable development goals. Addressing the event to mark 40 years of the Food and Agriculture Organisation's representation in Sri Lanka, Hannah Singer encouraged more youth participation to drive climate-resilient agriculture practices in order to achieve sustainable development goals.
Over the past 40 years, the FAO in Sri Lanka has provided over 1 million farming and fishing families with emergency assistance in times of natural disasters or civil conflict. This assistance has enabled communities to build resilient livelihood. At the same time, a key contribution of FAO has been on capacity development of government departments and institutions. I would like to urge you all to look at 3 areas which we can use as guiding pillars of our work. First is innovations. Innovation in agriculture is a way to enhance effectiveness, competitiveness, and resilience with limited land and other limited resources. We need to seek out and promote new business models to make innovations accessible to millions of farmers. We must continue to look at research-based practical programs to support Sri Lanka to both mitigate and adapt to the effects of climate change. It is imperative to engage and educate the young generation in sustainable agriculture practices and provide them with an environment that encourages them to be part of an agriculture sector. I strongly believe that for us to see transformative change, we need young people leading especially in important areas such as the agriculture. They have to drive and they have to have the vision or allowed to have the vision to achieve great things. We need young people to drive climate resilient agriculture practices that contributes to sustainable development agenda that leaves no one behind.
We shall be back after this very short break. Bear with us. Welcome back. You're watching First at 9. Now, the Presidential Commission of Inquiry appointed to probe the Easter Sunday attacks recorded a statement from Archbishop of Colombo, His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit, today. The proceedings, however, were not open to the public or the media, and speaking after the proceedings of the Commission, the Cardinal said that the existing mechanism has to be supported in seeking answers.
In accordance with a notice to appear before the Presidential Commission of Inquiry probing the Easter attacks to give evidence, Archbishop Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit arrived at the Commission at 2 p.m. today. He gave statements to the Commission for nearly 4 hours. The proceedings of the Commission, however, was not open for the public.
අපි සාක්ෂි දෙන්න ආවේ ප්‍රශ්නවලට. ඉතින් අපිට මේ කිසිම පොසිෂන් එකක් අපිට ගන්න බෑ. මේවා සම්බන්ධව අපි දන්න දේවල් අපි ඒගොල්ලන්ට කිව්වා. එතකොට ඒ අනුව කටයුතු සිදු වෙයි. කොමිෂන් සභාවේ වාර්තාවල් ඒ විදිහට ඒකට අපි නෝට් කරන්න ඕනේ නැහැ.
ඔබ වහන්සේ විවෘත ප්‍රකාශය ලබා දීමේදී සඳහන් කළා මේ දැන්ට පවතින විමර්ශන පිළිබඳ සෑහීමකටපත් වෙන්නේ නැහැ කියලා.
ඉතින් අපි දැන් තියෙන එකෙන් කරන්න එපා. තියෙන තත්ත්වයෙන් ඉස්සරහට යනවා මිසක් අපිට අලුත් දේවල් ගැන හිතන්න බෑනේ.
ඒ කියන්නේ දැනට පවතින විමර්ශන විමර්ශන ගැන ඔබවහන්සේව සෑයීමකටපත් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. පක්ෂපාතීද කියලා සැකයක් මතුවලා තියෙනවා.
දැන් මෙතනින් මේ අපේ කොමිෂන් සභාවට බාර දීලා තියෙන ඒ වගකීම ඉෂ්ට කරන්න අපි ඒගොල්ලන්ට සහාය වෙමු. එතකොට ඒගොල්ලන්ගෙන් ලැබෙන ප්‍රතිචාර අනුව අපිට බලන්න පුළුවන් ඒක.
දැන් පාස්කු ප්‍රහාරයත් එක්ක යම්කිසි දේශපාලඥයින් මේකට සම්බන්ධයි කියලා විවිධ කතා නැවුණා. ඒ ගැන තාම කිසිම විමර්ශනයක් සිදු වෙලා නැහැ.
නෑ ඒ අපිට නම් කියන්න බෑ කිසි කෙනෙකුගේ. හරිද?
ආණ්ඩුවක් තියෙනවා.
ඒ ආණ්ඩුවෙන් බලපෑමක් නැහැනේ. දැන් ඒගොල්ලෝ පත්වීම් දීලා මේ කට්ටියට දැන් ඒ ජනාධිපතිතුමාත් ඒගොල්ලන්ව හම්බුණානේ. ඉතින් හම්බෙලා ඒගොල්ලන්ට අවසර දුන්නානේ කරගෙන යන්න කියලා කිව්වනේ. ඉතින් අපි බලාගෙන ඉමු වාර්තාවල එනකම්.
විශේෂයෙන්ම රටේ දේශපාලන පක්ෂ ආගම් ජාති සම්බන්ධයෙන් ඇතිලා තියෙනවා නම් ඒවා තහනම් කරන්න ඕනේ රටේ නීතියක් ගෙනල්ලා.
ඒක අපි විතරක් නෙමෙයි අනිත් අයත් කියනවනේ. හරිද? රයිට් අපි අවසන් ප්‍රතිඵල ලැබෙන්න ඔබ වහන්සේ ඉදිරියේ පොත කොච්චර කාලෙකින් ලැබෙන්න ඕනද? අපි දන්නේ නැහැ කියන්නේ ඒක මේ අදාළ කොමිෂන් සභාවෙන් ඉක්මනින්ම ලැබිය යුතුද? කොමිෂන් සභාවෙන් අහගන්න යුතුද?
නැවත කැදවීමක් තියෙනවා. හෙට දිනේ උදෑසන 9 මාර්ට නැවත කොමිෂන් සභාව රැස් වෙනවා. එහිදී කාඩිනල්තුමාගේ සාක්ෂිය ලබා ගැනීමට කොමිෂන් සභාව විසින් කටයුතු කරනවා ඇති. හෙට දිනේදීත් රහස්‍ය ලෙස සාක්ෂි විමසීමට කොමිෂන් සභාව විසින් තීන්දුව කරලා තියෙනවා. එම කාඩිනල්තුමා ලබා දෙන සාක්ෂියේ සමහර නිශ්චිත පුද්ගලයන්ගේ නම් සහ ඔවුන් මෙම ප්‍රහාරයට තියෙන සම්බන්ධතාවය ගැන හෙළි වෙනවා. ඒ නිසා කොමිෂන් සභාව ඒ සම්බන්ධයෙන් වැඩිදුර පරීක්ෂණ සිදු කරන තෙක් මාධ්‍යයට සහ මහජනයාට එම කරුණු සම්බන්ධයෙන් ප්‍රවේශයක් ලබා නොදීමට තීරණය කළ තියෙනවා.
Now, the central bank announces that it has taken measures to regulate money lenders and protect the public from predatory lending and scams. It says that advertisements and other forms of communications are made through various channels, including print, electronic and digital media, offering loans, while complaints have been on certain irregularities made in this regard.
In a statement, the monetary body says that together with the Ministry of Finance, it has taken action to draft a law for licensing, regulation and supervision of money lenders and protection of customers, adding that the relevant law is currently in the drafting process and is expected to be enacted in the near future. The central bank says that advertisements and other forms of communications are made through various channels, including print, electronic and digital media, offering loans, and that complaints have been made on certain irregularities in this regard. It says that some allegations are regarding scams, while some are complaining on high interest rates, harassment to customers and misuse of confidential customer information by such money lenders. Giving clarification, the CBSL says that as per the existing legal framework, money lenders do not come under a licensing and regulatory regime unless they accept deposits. In view of these observations, the public is advised to exercise due diligence and care to avoid becoming victims of the scams operating in the guise of money lending businesses.
Now, the central bank also cautions the public to be vigilant on the legal status of various financial products such as promissory notes, commercial papers and debentures, and the standard procedure for issuing such instruments and the risks involved in investing in such products.
Issuing a statement, the monetary body noted that certain individuals and entities have mobilized funds from the public by issuing various instruments, with certain categories of institutions raising funds by such means in order to meet their own financial obligations. The central bank said that some entities mobilize funds from the public without giving adequate information regarding the true nature of such instruments and without following the accepted procedure for such activities. It also highlighted that the issuing procedure, terms and conditions relating to investing of money, withdrawal procedures and other features relating to investments in promissory notes, commercial papers and debentures are different from depositing money in banks and finance companies. This means they do not fall into the category of deposits in the normal circumstances and are not eligible under the deposits insurance scheme operated by the CBSL. Therefore, in the event of any default by the issuer of such instruments, investors have no protection under the deposit insurance scheme. The central bank therefore urged the public to exercise extreme care and be vigilant when investing their hard-earned savings in instruments offered by various institutions.
Now, the Sri Lankan shares closed weaker for a third straight session today, weighed down by foreign sell-offs and profit-taking. The all-share price index closed down 0.18% at 6,149.57, its lowest since the 27th of November. Foreign investors were net sellers today in the equity market for the 27th session out of the last 30. They sold a net 86 million rupees worth of shares today. Now, here's a look at how the bourse performed during the week.
During the week, the ASP lost 1%, mainly due to price losses in counters such as Ceylon Tobacco Company, Dialog Axiata and Sampath Bank. Meanwhile, the S&P SL20 decreased by 2.3%. The average daily turnover for the week was down from last week to 815 million rupees. Banks, finance and insurance sector recorded the highest sector turnover during the week, whilst the second highest was seen in diversified sector. The foreign participation remained active during the week, with foreigners closing as net sellers, where foreign sales accounted for 22% of the total weekly turnover. A net foreign outflow of nearly 80 million rupees was recorded for the week. This resulted in the year-to-date net foreign outflow to increase to 10.82 billion rupees. Out of the weekly turnover, crossings accounted for nearly 16%, which was a lower proportion than last week.
Now, taking a look at the currency market, the Sri Lankan rupee rose 0.17% to 181 rupees and 10 to 30 cents per US dollar, compared with yesterday's close of 181 rupees and 40 to 50 cents. Now, here's a look at how the Sri Lankan rupee traded against other major currencies during the day. We'll see you again after this break. Stay tuned. And that's it from all of us here at First at 9. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.